Yo, what's good, YouTube? In today's video, I'm gonna give you guys my top 5 meta loadouts here after the update. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like for the algorithm, subscribe, notifications turned on. With that being said, well, actually, I need to switch out this chair. I'm kind of uncomfortable. Out with the old, in with the new. All right, let's get rid of this. All right, well, that's out of the way, but we got the GoPro on. I know some of you guys probably wonder what I look at when I'm playing the game. Gaming PCs, the middle monitor only, PS5's up top for random games and stuff. Of course, then we have the two on the outside here, which are basically connected to my stream PC, and I do all my editing and everything. But gaming PC, one monitor. This may not look like it. That's a heavy box. Yeah, it's pretty big. All right, well, this is a FlexiSpot CB7 mesh chair, and they were kind enough to send it out to me. So let's go ahead and build this thing.
20 minutes later.
All right, well, the FlexiSpot chair is complete. You know when people say it's got to be the gaming chair, he's got the better gaming chair? Well, that's me. I got the better gaming chair. Now, fast forwarding a couple weeks and it being in all my videos as my daily chair, that still stands true. It's the better chair. The C7B chair is incredibly durable. It's got a 300-pound weight limit, and it also has a 10-year warranty. Not to mention, it has incredible lumbar support with an adjustable lumbar support lever here on the chair. It doesn't matter if you're sitting upright or if you want to lean back and relax. It is absolutely incredible either way. So all in all, I'm pretty thankful I got the chair for myself, and you guys can grab one if you're interested right at the link in the description below. Huge thank you to FlexiSpot for sponsoring today's video. All right, so hopping in here to our first gun here today for the top 5 meta SMG. Since this is an SMG specific top 5, we're gonna give you guys a loadout here for the BP50, aka the conversion kit for the BP50. So it's not technically an SMG, but when you make it here into the conversion kit, it does become an SMG. And of course, there's this really cool new conversion kit out that actually does look really awesome. So we have this on here as our first attachment, making this into what I like to call the Ripper from Call of Duty Ghosts. It's actually a really, really good gun. So first thing in here is going to be, of course, the Jack Revenger kit. And then after that, we're going to go into the rear grip section. We're going to go through on the CCG tack tape. It's going to give us that tack stance spread. And overall, our sprint to fire speed is going to go up, which is really nice. We really do like that, having it be about a nice 13% increase. And of course, the tack stance is a nice 22%. It does mess with your overall recoil, but trust me on this one, you're not really going to find any recoil with this gun. It's going to be pretty much a laser beam. After that, we're going to go over here into the ammunition side of things. We're going to go actually in here and throw on the 9mm high grade rounds, which is going to give us an increase to our bullet velocity and damage range, pushing us out to that 14 meters of effective damage range, which is incredibly nice because a lot of the other meta SMGs sit somewhere right around 14 or a little bit under that. So when you actually sit at 14, that puts you in a nice little sweet spot and makes you very competitive. And of course, your bullet velocity is probably arguably faster than a large majority of the SMGs right now. So having those 9mm high grade rounds on here is going to make you an absolute, lethal menace out there on the battlefield. So that's going to be that attachment. And after that, we're going to go up in here to the laser section, and we're going to go in here and throw on the very first laser, the Kimura RYL33 laser light. This is incredibly good, just giving us aim locking steadiness, tack stance spread, sprint to fire speed, ADS speed. All of the above is incredibly awesome. The only cons to it is that it does give you away. Technically, if you're trying to corner camp, people are going to be able to see your flashlight and your laser. Not a big deal in my opinion, because I'm up in people's faces, so it really doesn't bother me. I really enjoy the benefits here. Nice 13% on my ADS, another 21% on my sprint to fire, and of course 16% on my tack stance spread. So I got a really nice tack stance spread. If you guys want to run in that, you can realistically probably do so because your tack stance spread is going to be so good. For our final attachment, we're gonna go into the muzzle category. We're gonna utilize that brand new suppressor, the Quartermaster suppressor. So this is gonna keep us off the radar, but with our overall gun control, recoil control. Before, when you're making this thing, we throw on something like the ZM-35 compensated flash hider, which is still definitely an alternative attachment you guys can run if you don't happen to have the Quartermaster unlocked. If you don't have it unlocked or you're confused to where it's at, you just scroll all the way to end on your muzzles, just go all the way down to the very end, activate it as an armory unlock, and you will be able to get the Quartermaster suppressor. But this is something you should have because it is used on pretty much every single build nowadays. So this is gonna be my full build here for the BP50. Next up, we're gonna give you guys a build here for pretty much the #1 SMG in the game, especially since the Superi nerf. That is gonna be the static HV. So this gun is just, it's taking over Warzone. If you're not gonna be using the static, you're pretty much doing it wrong. There's other great options in here, of course, is the top 5, but this is like, if you're really truly trying to sweat with the best possible thing, this is pretty much it. So first thing in here is going to be the Quartermaster suppressor. Like I said, we use this on so many of our builds now. You should just have it unlocked. I didn't really go over the benefits of it, but a nice 10, 23, and 10% increase to your overall recoil control. It does mess with your ADS speed, but if you look at the ZM-35, We did lose bullet velocity on that, so that wasn't really the greatest thing, and it messed your ADS speed about 6%, whereas we don't lose any bullet velocity, and it messes your ADS speed about 8%, and then your sprint to fire about 5%. But don't worry, we're totally going to make sure that is, you know, nullified and taken care of with our next attachments. Barrel section, when you go through on the Auger 840 light barrel, this gives you ADS speed, sprint to fire, movement speed, and of course hip fire and tack stand spread. All great things to have on an SMG, and the only cons are, which are really nice with this barrel, is that you lose a little bit of recoil control and gun kick control, which is not that big of a deal, considering our suppressor pretty much takes care of all that with a nice, like, was it 10, 23, and 10 or something like that. So you're basically back to ground zero here, not getting any extra kick out of this barrel. Underbarrel section, we're gonna go down here, and we're gonna use the next, the other unlockable attachment here within the season, the paracord grip. This is such a solid one right here, giving you nice horizontal recoil, sprint to fire, aiming, idle, sway, and aim walking steadiness. This is just so useful on so many different guns. I mean, I've been going back and forth between using the paracord grip and the DR6 on a lot of my builds here nowadays. I haven't been using the XRK Edge just because I feel like that extra aim walking speed kind of tends to make my iron sights jiggle around a little bit too much. So I've been going back and forth between the DR6 and the paracord, but for this build in particular, you definitely want to run the paracord. After that optic section, you can probably go in here and run like the Jack glassless. That's going to be a great option for you guys. What I've been really enjoying personally is making it feel like a little bit more like an SMG is actually running the Nahv model 2023. I just really like visually the way this thing looks. There's no benefits over using this versus the Jack glassless. You don't get any extra benefits by doing it. It is a personal preference thing at the end of the day. I believe using the Nahv model 2023, the MK3 reflector, and I believe there's one other sight like the Slate reflector would be your pretty much your three sort of like your three regular red dots versus the Jack glassless would be the other one you can choose from. But the Nahv is going to be my choice on this gun. And then lastly, in the stock section, we go through on the Spry 34 light stock, giving you a nice little boost to your overall movement capabilities. If you guys want to get a little bit crazy with it, you could go through on the no stock attachment. Keep in mind, you will have a decent bit more recoil that you have to kind of compensate for. So that is one of those things you guys have to be aware of. So the Spry 34 Light is definitely the way to go for this gun. And here is the ultimate #1 meta SMG setup. Next up, let's give you guys a build here for the Superi 46. Even though this has received a few nerfs, it is still basically like the third best or second best SMG in the game. There's a lot of variables that go into making what is, actually the second or third best in the game. But basically, the Superi falls right in that sort of line. So first thing in here is going to be the Quartermaster suppressor. We definitely use this over that 735. No reason to go ahead and do that to kind of dull down your bullet velocity. Also, personally, I really like how the Quartermaster, you get like zero like muzzle flash or anything else out of it. It just feels a lot more satisfying to use the Quartermaster, and especially the way it comes out sounding with a suppressor as opposed to pretty much loud and proud. I do enjoy that sort of sound, so I just would recommend for you guys to use the Quartermaster. Barrel section, we're going to use the Bore 99 short, and you may be looking at yourself like, yo, Chuck, I mean, this actually does mess with your overall bullet velocity and range, and yes, it technically does. That's why I'll show you guys something you can do to kind of offset that a little bit, which is something I've ran personally, but I'll give you guys two different options in here and how to run this gun to make it effective, and it kind of suits your needs. So we're going to be running the Bore 99 here kind of regardless. After that, we're going to go down to the underbarrel section, and what we're going to do is we're gonna go throw on the DR6 hand stop. So pretty much like I was saying here with the XRK Edge, I've been feeling like the strafe speed messes with me a little bit too much. You guys can definitely run the XRK Edge, and that'll be a great option, or you can run the DR6. My preference is going to be to run the DR6 if I'm going to run an underbarrel here on the Superi 46. That is technically more meta for movement, sort of stuff like that. But I also really enjoy getting a little bit extra damage range. So I'll run this if I'm running an underbarrel. If I'm not, go into the ammunition side of things, we're going to just switch out the underbarrel for the 4.6 high grains, which boosts you back out to that 13.4 meters of effective damage range when you rate back up there in the meta for your damage drop off and everything like that. So the high grains would be my personal choice, or you can go for the DR6 hand stop or the XRK Edge, switch it out and see what works best for you. After that, magazine, of course, we're going to go through on the 40 round mag. Don't really got to explain this one too much. It's just a 40 round mag. It comes base 30. It's not acceptable to run the base 30 or 20 for that matter. I don't know why anyone would even equip this, even if you're playing solos. Doesn't make sense. Even 30 for solos doesn't make sense. Just go for the 40. Lastly, stock section. Couple options in here. You can go for the Jack Cutthroat, which is a really cool option, but one of the drawing points, the main drawing points to the Superi 46 is its overall attack sprint speed, movement speed, It's basically one of the fastest guns in the game. So the Jack Cutthroat, while it does boost your overall movement speed, you aren't going to be truly as fast as if you go over here to the Rescue 9 stock, which gives you, it's right behind my face cam, but it's a 12% increase to your overall movement speed. Amongst the other variety of benefits here, the Rescue 9 stock is definitely the way to go to make this the most hard meta version of the Superi you can possibly run. So Rescue 9 is gonna be the way to go, and here is my ideal build. Next up, let's take a look here at the FJX Horus. This is a really fun SMG. I think it's a little bit underrated. It falls right in that sort of line of the second, third, fourth best SMG, kind of based on how you build it. It's gonna be a little bit better, a little bit worse. I mean, it's got a lot of, pros and cons to it. So we're gonna kind of build it out here to be the best overall all-around SMG for close range. So first thing, muzzle, of course, the Quartermaster suppressor. For whatever reason, you can throw the Quartermaster on here without using a barrel. Pretty much you can only get away with using the Quartermaster or this Requieter suppressor. You can't use the Zeman. You'd have to throw on a barrel before you add any of that stuff. So pretty much you can get away with running the Quartermaster and no barrel if you want to go at it like that. Barrel section, there's two ways to run this thing. The Martis Heavy is going to be the first way to run it for the increase in recoil control and all that sort of stuff. But the one thing I don't like is that effective damage range is 8.6 meters, which is way too low in my opinion. So I like to extend that out with the Sin 9 long barrel. I believe that to be the best way to run this gun. No reason for you to really run the Martis Heavy unless you're having a lot of trouble controlling the recoil. But otherwise, you guys should be good to go and should be using the Sin 9 long barrel. It's definitely the most effective way to run this gun. After that, we're gonna go down here to the ammunition side of things. We're gonna go through on the 9mm high grain rounds, and what this is gonna do is boost this out to 11.4 meters, which still really isn't the greatest. Your bullet velocity is gonna be very fast, so your shots are gonna hit very fast in comparison to some other SMGs. That's why I said, depending on how you build this thing, it can be very movement friendly, not as good damage range friendly, could be a little bit more damage range friendly. I mean, it's so up in the air in how you build this thing, but the 9mm high grains are like my recommendation. If you want it to actually hit hard and compete with some of these other guns like the Tctekk and the Superi and of course, everything else in this top 5, you should be running the high grains. Magazine, we're gonna go throw on the 60 round mag. If you guys go back and forth on your detailed statistics between the 48 and the 60, listen, I'm a 60 round mag kind of guy and I like throwing on the 60, but overall, there's no extra cons to running a 60 as opposed to a 48. So if you see someone on the ground running a 48 round mag on their FJX, that means they're just actually lost and they have not used the 60, because you just can go back and forth and you can literally see there's no difference to your cons. So run the 60, you get an extra 12 rounds in the mag for no extra, cost. It's the same exact thing, which is really nice. Pretty much the only gun in the game that has that sort of quirk to it. So just take advantage of it while it's in the game. I don't know if that's on purpose. They haven't patched it, so I'm just gonna say it's on purpose. Lastly, because the iron sights, I mean, listen, frankly, the iron sights are pretty garbage. So you can use the iron sights if you want to. You can throw in a different attachment, like a stock or something of your choice. But pretty much my go-to in here is gonna be the Nahv model 2023. That's going to be the best way, like the clearest way to be able to see your enemies. And in my opinion, that or the Jack Glassless. Like I said, you could go for a stock if you really want to, throw in an underbarrel if you really want to, kind of, make it your choice. But I just don't like the iron sights. I really don't like them. I feel like they're very intrusive, hard to see through. It's kind of like the AMR 9. They're just pretty trash. So we're going to use the Nahv model. And that's me, my full build here for the FJX. And for our last gun here in the top 5, and definitely not the least, this is actually kind of one of my favorites to use in the game. When I do get the chance to go use the striker and go for like a striker gameplay of some sort for the channel, I really do enjoy it because the striker always hits very hard and I find it to be very underrated in comparison to other SMGs that get used a lot. It's incredibly good. So first thing is going to be the Quartermaster suppressor here. Keeps you off the radar, helps your gun kick control, all that sort of fun jazz. The striker doesn't have a lot of kick anyways, and this is going to be the only attachment you need, frankly, to stabilize it out. After that, we're going to go down here to the underbarrel section, and what we're going to do is we're going to go through on the DR6 hand stop. This gun does not really require a barrel because you can see your effective damage range is already 12.7 meters. All that's going to do if we add a barrel on there is slow us down and we have something else to extend out our range. So we don't really need to do that. So we're just going to throw on the DR6 and that's going to be good to go. Speaking of extending our range, the .45 auto high grain rounds. So this gives you, of course, no enemy skulls, which I don't know if that's much benefit, to be honest, to keep it a full stack with y'all. I don't know. But it does boost you out to 14.6 meters. Your bullet velocity is 655 meters per second, which I think is at the top end of what we're using here in this top 5. It's just barely outside the top, but It's really good. And if you wanted to, you can even throw on like a barrel and make this like a sniper support, because it go out to about 17, 18 meters with this exact setup. So it's actually pretty cool for that. So we have this on here, which will extend you out and still keep you very mobile at like no cost to your mobility. We're extending out the range. Magazine, we're gonna go throw on the 48 round mag. I don't think you need to run the 60 on this thing. The Striker only has a 645 round per minute fire rate, which is not super fast. It does feel like a little bit on the slower side. That's one reason you can get away with running the 48. It hits hard. It's kind of like the WSP9, where it doesn't have a lot of like a super high fire rate, but it hits very hard when you hit those shots. So 48 is perfectly fine, and it keeps you from slowing yourself down more so, which having the 60 round mag definitely does a lot more of that. So 48 is definitely the way to go. And lastly, we're gonna go up in here, and there's pretty much a couple options. So my option, or like my personal preference here, is someone that's very good with recoil control, likes to be able to move around really fast. I'm gonna go for the no stock, and that's gonna be like my bread and butter. Like I'll be totally cool. Like I'll run the Striker like this. I'll be flying around the map, and I really enjoy that. It says you lose a little gun kick control. I don't really believe a whole lot of that. I think it's still very controllable. But for the majority of people out there, the Lockman MK2 light stock is going to give you a nice little boost to your overall movement, but it's not going to give you any sort of cons to your recoil. It says 16%. You can try this out for yourself in the firing range. It's really not going to bounce around a whole lot, or hardly at all. The Lockman MK Light 2 is just going to be great, but for me, the no stock is going to be my preference. So between these two, MK2, no stock, choose what works for you. So this has been my top 5. You guys enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like for the algorithm, subscribe, notifications turned on, check out this other video on the screen, and I'll see you all next time.